Three, two. Hey, Bobby, how are you today? I hope you're doing well.
I'm good.
Is
I'm
it cold
real.
outside?
It is cold outside.
Really? Well, I think that's one of the best parts about being in the family is when the seasons change, you all get to experience together and see how each other's fare against it. I used to judge my brothers and sisters on how cold or hot it was outside in Chicago. During the summertime, it's extremely hot, and during the wintertime, it is brutally freezing. How was it where you are this past couple of days?
Well, there's enough snow on the ground to be cold, but not enough to keep my dog's feet from being muddy. So it's
And
right at
shaking all over, shaking
that
water and mud everywhere.
mud galore when they come in the back door. So you got to just mop it
These are big
immediately.
dogs too, I remember. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
big. So when they
big.
shake, it's like mud everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So you
good.
just keep them mop, and then you just keep them up by the back door and
Okay.
all the way into the living room, and it stops at the couch.
Okay.
Usually, if Suge doesn't beat us to the couch first, and then up on that she goes, and
Oh,
then I want to pull out the whole vacuum, and Montez wants to get a sponge and just scrub it that way. And I don't like physical labor, so I'm just want to suck it all.
I do understand. Uh, Tell me, what was your favorite food that you cooked this week?
Probably today, hot chocolate pancakes.
Now, I've never heard of those. Maybe I'm an isolated guy. Hot chocolate and pancakes. So you mix what with the pancake to make it hot chocolate?
No, it come in a box that way. They were called hot chocolate pancakes. They were like Christmas pancakes. It was a special edition through Christmas.
You put syrup
And
on it as well?
huh?
You put syrup on it as well?
I put peanut butter and syrup. I think everybody did today too. So,
It's like a smorgasbord of taste in your mouth
yep.
all at the same time. Ooh, that makes my teeth hurt just saying it. I can't do a lot of sugar.
They weren't real sweet though. You could
Really?
taste the chocolate, but it was like a regular pancake.
Okay. So how did your week go insofar as the hortatory commands or the let's and we and us and kind of confrontation instead of the me, you? How did it go for you?
Well, it went both ways. I tried to use a lot of we's and little things, and that made some difference. And then I tried to use it on one occasion. Let's go to the B&B, and that one kind of blew up on me. But
Okay.
uh, it's just by habit. You really have to practice because it doesn't come easy.
Yes, absolutely. We discussed that last session. I mean, without just forcing yourself to do it, you'll never get used to it. That's the only way you ever get conditioned to anything is just push your way through it. Conditioning is on purpose. You're trying to condition yourself to be more inclusive and to include other people in the process by using those plural terms. I think that's very important. I think that so long as you're trying it, that's all that matters. Over the weeks, I'm going to ask you more and more and more about that in your decision-making process. And I'm going to ask you some questions probably in the next session, if not this one as well, about what are the upcoming decisions that you have to make that you're unsure of, but you're not interested in making all of a sudden. But then we'll have to explore them so we can see if we can provide some level of remedy, some level of action to it. And so it can
Okay.
be actually made if that's what something you want to do. So when you have a decision to make, you can actually bring it up. You can share it. You can say, Mike, listen, I got something I'm doing. I'm not going to make the decision for you. That's not my job. That's not what I do. But I will help you with taking a very clear look at all of the possibilities of that decision as best I can. And so when you make that decision, be making it based on it be called what we name an informed decision. You'll have all the information you need to have an informed decision. Is that something you're interested in?
Yeah, because I already know one coming up these next 3 or 4 months is going to be really, really hectic. And uh, me and my significant other is going to have a lot of opposite schedules.
Yeah. Yeah,
And so,
okay, what's the decision? Let's figure out what is the decision you have to make. Now that you've said that this is an issue, what is the decision? How to what?
well, I've already signed up for the school. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 5 to 8.
Okay.
And I got a job offer potentially for the week starting the same week as school.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be an 8 to 5. So that's 3 days out of the week. Pretty much I'll be working or in school from 8 to 8,
Mm-hmm.
potentially. And now I also got a per diem job offer, which I could pick up as much or as little as I wanted for extra money. And then the reason being is that we're going to be moving soon, just down the street, but it costs money to move. You got to have a deposit and your first month's rent. Like it's money to move any way you want to cut it, whether you're transferring utilities, getting
Yeah.
new stuff, I want to take stuff like, so I have to figure out, do I want to engage in that or do I want to work part-time and go to school part-time? Go to school this 3 days a week and work 5 days a week? Do I want to pick up overtime or do I want to do a per diem where I just pick up days and hours that I want to?
If
But
money, or anything else but what?
and so then with that being said, that's going to leave little time for me and him. And it's been an issue in the past where we haven't had enough time or the things that we do aren't of quality.
Do you have a vision board?
I did have at one point. I haven't created a new one recently.
Well, you need a vision board, number one. That won't be your schedule, though. What it will be is a list of things that you think that you need to accomplish in your life to better you, things you need to avoid in life to better you, and things you need to maintain and strengthen in order to better you. All of the areas of your vision board is, as it said, vision. Visions or dreams are different. You know, visions and dreams, two different things. People say, well, I dream of one day becoming a lawyer. I dream of one day of having a happy home. Well, dreams are just that. They're dreams. They're transitory pieces of information that pass through your brain, and you just dream about it. But a vision is an actual goal. It's a target. And you need to, in that vision, using the word not for a pun, but you need to visualize that which you need to accomplish. So what you just told me, and I don't know the intricacies, but 8 to 8 is a pretty long day. 12 hours is a pretty long day for anyone. And then when you get home, you have to deal with eating and catching up with everybody, maybe clean up something or have someone clean up something or do something. And then at some point you got to eat and rest and get up and do that all over again and live for the weekend or part of it. So with that being said, what I think you need to do is create in your brain housing group one thing, a list of priorities. To you, Bobbi, what's the most important thing you need to do on your list of priorities? You said money, you needed to move. And so if you're being compelled to move or your lease or rent is up or wherever you are and you need to move, then your stability at home is probably one of the most principal areas in your life that you need to have, taken care of. So that has to be at the top of the list. Spending time with your significant other, believe it or not, is not that important. What is important is when you do spend time together, that it's good time. But it's not that important when you're trying to accomplish something, because I'm feeling that school is temporary. It's only going to go until you finish it. So once you finish it, that time will be recouped back into your life. When you recuperate that time back into your life, then that can be given and distributed to the people in your list of priorities. So working has to be a priority because that's how you facilitate having a home and maintaining a home. So that has to be a priority. Second priority is the other per diem. Is that necessary? Is it warranted? Do you really need it? And if you do, you have to prioritize that as well. But the very thing that you had growing up was participation from people in your life, and it wasn't so good of participation, except for your grandparents, from what I'm seeing in a few friends over the years. Okay. Don't do to your children or your grandchildren or whomever is there needing to be around you in order to have that kind of leadership that you bring as a matriarch to the family. Don't neglect them the way you were neglected, I should say, in the opposite. You were giving too much of the wrong attention, and you'll probably end up giving them none or very little. So you have to think of that as a priority too. Family must be at part of the top of the list for priority. And that's how you maintain balance in life. So what I would do, and I have done, is sometimes you have to put what you need to do first to maintain a certain style of life that's conducive towards getting the things in your life prioritized and accomplished. That's more important probably than anything else. Because without your base, this is my launching pad kind of foundation that you build, then none of what you want will be accomplishable because you won't have the proper footing to get any of it done or support. So what I would do is I would create my own general schedule of priority. 1, you got to work. 2, you got to keep your health in check. 3, got to spend some time with family. And all the other things are tertiary or secondary or third to that. Even though the moving is important, but that's a part of you needing to get things done and working hard so you can move and maintain that livelihood. Look at it in that way. That way, any decision you make of the top 3 priority in your life, any decision, whether it's your health, moving, a new job, whatever it is, you're making a good decision. And then over time, if health becomes more important than job, then you just simply slide it on the top. And spending time when you have that opportunity, you make sure you can move that around in the slots as well for spending time with family. Because if you build a static list of priorities, a permanent, a rigid, a locked in list of priorities, Bobbi, you're going to fail miserably. Your list of priorities must be elastic, like a rubber band. You should be able to stretch them, contract them, move them around. They should be malleable. You should be able to change it a little bit, refocus, but always keeping the general theme of accomplishing that objective in mind. And it makes for a better list. Organizing yourself, Bobbi, is the #1 way of preventing abuse in your life. If you're not organized in your life, then abuse will seep in. And it will hit you in places you didn't expect because you didn't organize. From the way you live at home, the way you work at the workplace, the way you drive your car, the way you move things around, the way you prioritize. Put things in order. Put your house in order, and your work in order, and your people in order. Then start to make decisions. And everything will fit just a little bit more. And don't violate your own principles. You can bend them. You can bend things a little bit every now and then because everything just doesn't fit like it's supposed to sometimes in life. But don't violate them. Don't just not do them. So we're going to start talking more about your decision-making process as time ensues. But I want to go over a couple notes if I can. And this is something, unless you have something to say. What did you want to say about that?
Okay. No, you're right. It does. It's all about finding the gray area. And a lot of times I find that maybe my goals aren't in alignment with others in my family's goals. Or maybe, for instance, I haven't always worked in my life. I hustled in the streets and did what I had to do. And I never valued a job, and I didn't know the value of a dollar. I'm pretty good at money management now. Like, I can sit on money like no tomorrow, because you never know what's going to happen, and you're going to need it. You're going to be out of it, and you're either going to be faced with, hey, I got to move. I got to somebody hit my car, whatever the case may be. So I've always been good at money management. It just wasn't making the money the right way. And so now that I know, okay, yep, I got a job. I love to work. When I managed an apartment, I worked 24 hours a day and I did not mind. It got irritating at 2 o'clock in the morning when I had to go put out a fire, but I don't mind working the right way.
That's a
And
great spirit, great attitude.
yeah, but not everybody in my family values the value of a dollar. So that being said, a lot of times I have to role model and it gets extremely difficult um to
Please explain.
um sometimes it's hard to get someone to follow my lead or you know
You
yes
what you doing?
yes, I know it says in the Bible, submit to your husband. But just being quite frankly, I'm not going to submit if you're not leading appropriately or the right direction or the right path. Sometimes what we talked about, it kind of goes astray. And now we're going this way. And so somebody's got to give a little bit. And
Well,
I know
the first thing a woman should demand in a relationship is to be treated like a queen. And I know that sounds kind of cliche. That's the first thing a woman should demand. However, when making demands, you must also have, your playbook as well for him. And if you want to be treated like a queen, then you must first treat him like a king. Now, whether he agrees with you or whether he's in line with where you want to head in your life, it doesn't matter. You keep those things separate from your relationship sometimes. And I know that sounds odd because principle is everything. So long as you go through life without violating your own principles or the principles of the people closest to you, you're going to fare well normally. When you start to violate your own principles or someone else is trying to get you to violate your principles or get to violate your principles on your behalf or make you do something you otherwise would not do, then that's something you need to stop and take a look at and decide whether that's a path you want to go down. That's a very strong, straightforward statement of what you will allow in your life and what you don't. And those decisions have to be made. I'm not saying break up or have a fight or any of that. No, what I'm saying is that if you're in a place where you have to violate your principles, then you have none. Remember, honor is what you have when everyone is looking, but integrity is what you have when no one is looking. So when no one's there and it's just you, ask yourself, are you violating your principles? And if that comes back with, no, I'm not, then ask, are there any other people around me violating my principles? And if that comes up, yes or no, you have to deal with that, yes or no. But the ultimate is if you allow people beneath you to violate your principles, then it will still affect you up here with you trying to maintain your principles. So what are your principles? Let's ask ourselves. One major principle you have is you don't want to go to do anything nefarious or illegal. Am I assuming that's one of your principles?
Yeah.
Then you live by that. And then you'll have to, this is the beauty of living by something. And it's also the detriment of living by something. The beauty of living by something is you have to live with it. The detriment is you'll also sometimes have to die with it. You have to die by, that's the hill I'm going to die on. This is the end of all ends, that I will not go back to prison. That must be a priority of yours. It must be a major principle of yours that you will not violate, that you will not do anything illegal or nefarious. I think that should be your number one priority because that has kept you from your entire life.
Yeah, it has.
Not been in contact with you since you were a teenager until now. And it must feel good to have some element or consistency of self-value, to see that I'm not in prison. I'm not on my way back to prison. I'm not doing anything to go to prison. I'm not even planning to do anything to go back to prison. that must be a sign of relief for you within yourself somewhere. Am I correct in that assumption?
It is. And you know, I think I struggle the most with see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Because that doesn't mean that.
You don't see it and feel it and understand it's all around you.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want you to say anything that incriminates yourself or anyone else, but I do want you to understand this. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. And people are people, Bobbi. They're going to do them no matter what. They're going to be them no matter what you do. No matter how you tell them don't, or you're not going to participate, or it ain't happening, no matter what you do, they will never stop and never change. Not ever. The only thing that will ever make them change is when they see you have changed. You keep doing the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, and try your best to extricate or pull out those people who are vulnerable to that away from it. To include people who are pretty strong-minded. Because sometimes all they need to hear from somebody who's on a good path, that you're going off your path and it's not in line with my path. And if we are going to make it as a family, as a husband and wife, as a co-workers, as cousins, whatever that relationship is, if we're going to make it, then you have to be principled that you don't violate it in front of them, nor when the door is closed and you're all by yourself, you don't violate those principles. Then when they see that your level of integrity associated with your principles, when they see it's intact and they know they can't get around it, they can't punch through it, they can't make you do something you otherwise used to do. When they see that, they have to start making decisions for themselves. And that's the whole idea. No one on this planet is responsible for another person unless they're your child. Other than that, no one is responsible. You are responsible for yourself. And that's it. So they'll have to become more responsible for themselves, make some of the better decisions because you're not tolerating any other kind. You get it? That's when you have to make decisions. I'm sorry?
Yeah. Yeah. That sometimes that can be hard.
Hard is better than I'm going to jail for 6 years. Hard
Yeah.
is better than somebody got killed. Hard is much better than we lost them forever. Hard is better than our relationship is over. Hard is much better than a whole lot of things. I can name 5,000 bad things worse than hard, and so can you. So it's got to be hard. Anything in life worth having oftentimes yield a certain level of hard associated with it. It just produces it. But when you get beyond the hard part, if it's worth it, and you get beyond the hard part, you'll see that it was the better route to take because you learn lessons along the hard path. The easy path, you learn nothing. You just learn how to do it easy.
Agree.
That's
Agree.
it. Exactly. You find your strengths in your weaknesses. So when you're going through something hard and you're broken down and you're weak and you don't know how you're going to get it done or get through it, you don't have a clue. When you get there, that is the best place you can ever be in life. Because that's when you learn. That's when you learn better. That's when you stop goofy stuff you do. That's when you learn how to keep your mouth shut. Don't let people get in there. Don't put yourself as a target. You've done that well in your life, but you've done it without making decisions. So if you keep your mouth shut or hoard your money and stay on top of and keep your mouth shut, but you don't do anything and make decisions with it, then you've ruined that opportunity of maintaining that kind of integrity with yourself and how you keep money and how you keep secrets and how you stay out of trouble. You lose the whole value of it because you're not doing anything actionable. So all of your decisions should have some type of action associated with it. All of them. I think I'm gonna have a slice of chocolate cake. The action is I'm gonna eat a piece. I think I'm gonna put this money over here for a rainy day. The action is I'm secure now. Let me open up a bank account, put it there put it on a special situation. I can't touch it. So when I do need it, I can unlock it with these special provisions and get to it. Action. That's something you've never been good at in your life, Bobbi. Unless it's immediate reaction. Reaction you're great at. And it's been your Achilles heel. It's been, do you understand Achilles heel?
I know what it is.
Okay. The Achilles in your foot is what keeps your balance and keep you standing. And you cut your Achilles, you messed up. Achilles, when the whole Trojan horse thing, he could not be killed. He was born under certain gods where he just couldn't die. You couldn't defeat him in battle, anything. But because when his mother at birth hung him upside down and dipped him in some kind of celestial sauce, goo or whatever, and sipped him out, where she held him by was his Achilles. So that was the only part of his body that was not strengthened. So his Achilles was weak. So anyone who knew that, they could just a bow and arrow, a spear right through his Achilles if they could aim that well, and it would render him weak. And it would, anybody who gets hit in the Achilles is going to drop to the floor. They won't be able to stand on it. And that's what they did. That's how they actually killed Achilles. So here's the Achilles heel. Your Achilles heel for you has always been, you've been so reactive. A lot of people say cliche things, especially in business. They say, well, be, a reactive, be proactive. And they don't even know what the hell they're talking about most of the time. They don't even know what proactivity means. They just say it because it's cliche. It sounds like a good deal that they say it. But let's examine those two things. When you're being a professional, it means you knocked your game up once or twice. And now you're in a top tier of getting things done professionally. Correct? Mm-hmm. When you prohibit something, when you inhibit it, you kind of stop it. But when you prohibit it, you say it cannot be. It's the law. You step it up a little bit. When you're being proactive, you have to step up your game a little bit instead of reactive, where that's normally reaction is normally low-mindedness. For the lack of a better term, stupid people react. Smart people respond. And they try to look for proactive ways, productive ways to do whatever comes next. And you're good at that. You're very good at what comes next. Most people in life are not. Ask anybody on any street corner or any synagogue or any church or any mosque or any building in the world and ask them what comes next. And they'll look, most people, probably 95% of the people on the planet look at you like, what comes next? What are you talking about? See, you're good at what comes next. Whatever it is, you're going to deal with it. Or it's going to deal with you. And you've been good about holding back. I've listened to your conversation and we've talked many times before we even started these series. You're good at that. But you're yielding the wrong results when you do it. I mean, you're so darn productive, but you don't get anything done because your principled areas of your life are not solidified and strengthened first. It's like the painter. Why go get 15 buckets of paints, ladders, scaffolds, and tarps and everything, and you got no house to paint? Why go get it? Get your house together. So when you go get your buckets of life, you go get your buckets of integrity, you go get your buckets of food and sustenance and jobs and the people you want around you, go get all your paints and your turpentines and all the stuff you need to give that house that you've built the look and feel that you want. Get your house first, then get the paint, then get all the rest of this stuff. And I mean that metaphorically, but I also mean it literally. You're about to move. So think about it. Have things in order. So when you're moving into that situation, it's productive for you. It's a good move. Anyway, I can go on and on about that, but that's too much advice for a moment. I want to go into a few things, if I may. And we'll be talking about this a lot. And I'm going to read off my list. Understanding your emotions, strengths, and weaknesses. I don't want to move this over here because I really want to be able to see this right here. And this is important. Um, when you understand yourself, what are you able to do? You're able to navigate your life more effectively when you understand you, don't you think?
Yeah. Know what kind of makes me go, know what makes me mad, happy, jealous, what makes me eager. Like it's just about self-awareness and knowing me. Like I take me wherever I go. I've changed my scenery a lot of different times. And then it wasn't until, recently more refining some changes, but it started shifting and I was learning like what worked and what didn't over a period of maybe 2 to 3 years. And now I'm to the point where I'm just honing in on some things and is this going to work? And if not, okay, I got to go. Is this, or okay, I got to go, leave it alone. And so that's kind of where I'm at with,
You ever heard of back up and regroup?
huh?
You ever heard of back up and regroup?
Yeah, refocus.
Sometimes, yeah, okay. Let's just say regroup, refocus. Let's say they're synonymous in this particular case.
Okay.
Sometimes in life, instead of saying, forget that, I'm not doing that, go to something else. Sometimes you back up and regroup yourself and the issues around you and the people around you to see if that thing you attempted to do can work with the new set of people and parameters and objectives associated with it. Sometimes not discard your visions or your tasks or objectives. Just don't discard them and say, no, I'm going to do something else. When perhaps you just need to get fresh eyes on it. Talk to somebody you can trust, somebody you believe in how they think and how they work and operate that can help you kind of navigate that without giving up on it. Because you'll find oftentimes that giving up on something, even if it didn't work, may have not been the right measure to take. The better measure would have been to back up, regroup, reassess, re-understand, reunite with people, unite with newer people, and figure out if that can work with different set of parameters, and then go back out. And so if you're looking at accomplishing anything on your list in life for the last few years, like you just said, perhaps a better tactic is not to quit anything, just to keep it on a burner and figure out when the appropriate time comes and you have the right resources, the right people, and even the right circumstance, that thing that you otherwise walked away from would possibly work. And I'm sure you have looked back on your life and said, God, if I only knew what I know now. Oh, if I da-da-da-da-da. We all say that. But we close those doors when we say that. So even if we have what we have now, we still can't do anything about it. But if you leave that door open and make it something that you failed at, and it's okay to fail. The best part about life sometimes is failing, because then you know how to succeed later and be successful. But sometimes through failure, you learn a lot more than through accomplishing. So I always tell people, Bobbi, and I think you are probably one of the biggest people on the planet I think would understand this, is that, you know, when you're trying to accomplish anything in life, there must be an element of external aggression. Any entity, any person, any country, any state, any group, company in the world, without the threat of external aggression, the threat of somebody on your back or losing something or getting hurt by something or not accomplishing something or not having a good place to live or not having a good place to work or not having an enemy, will render you weaker. You must have these things in life to find strength. You must have an enemy to find how to battle enemies. You must have the threat of losing your job to do a great job. You must have the threat of being kicked out of school to do better in school. You have to have the threat of external aggression or encroachment or getting on top of you in order to succeed at anything. So find what it is that stops you from getting what you need done and use that as a tool to push you forward so you don't have to meet that thing to stop or hurt you. That's what decision making is all about, not just knowing the parameters, because there's more wisdom, Bobbi, in what you don't know than in what you do know. Are you understanding that?
Yeah.
When you don't know something, that's sometimes much better. And here's why. When you know something, you know you want to go to school at night, right? So you put on your thought process, your focus, you go right for it, you get it. You set it up, you got the money for it, you got the time for it, you've allocated the space for it, and the brain housing group you put together to absorb it, right? Okay, that's accomplished. Let's say you didn't know what to do. You don't know about where to go in this class, and do you have the time, and this, that, and the other. You don't know this, you don't know that, you don't know this, you don't know that, you don't know this. You don't know any of that. What are you doing? You, without freaking out or losing perspective, you're telling yourself that everything out here now is a possibility. And it may be different than what I've already planned and thought out and focused on. And it may be better. But explore those opportunities. There's wisdom there. There's much more wisdom in what you don't know than in what you do. So look for that wisdom there, and you'll find a better decision-making process if you explore, the 15 other avenues that you otherwise would have just chalked to the side before, because in there may lay a pot of gold. So that's the thing I want to share with you about self-awareness and about making those decisions. But I want to keep going, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already touched on it a little bit. You have to build resilience. Resilience is not something everyone has. Everyone wants it. Everyone tries to experience it and develop it, but very few people can develop real resilience where they just can take anything. They can put up with anything. They're going to keep going no matter what, and they're going to make it one way or the other. And if they don't make it, they're going to die trying.
Grit.
A lot of grit. That resilience is hard to come by. Tell me I'm wrong. It's
no. You're not wrong.
You have grit, but you have grit for things, that have happened in your life. You need to develop that same grit for accomplishment. That same grit. Don't just bring it to the table and be gritty with people. Bring it in a structured manner. You have to build resilience, that grit. You have to build it. It's constructed for the environment you're in. Grit, that resilience is constructed for the environment. The grit you use at work may not work at home. The grit you use at home may not work, at the store when you're buying something, or when you're teaching a class, or when you're taking a course.
Or when you're on the phone with Verizon.
There you go.
Nowhere.
It may not work because they already won. They own your phone. They own everything. All they knew, they could just shut you off and shut you up in 2 seconds.
And that's it.
But sometimes you have to work your way through it. That resilience, that grit is very important. Okay, I'm glad you understand that, and you can name it grit. But remember, every circumstance requires a different kind of finesse, a different kind of grit, different kind of how you deal with it. So work on that over time. Hopefully we'll get to all of that towards the end of our sessions. I think that you're already doing it in a lot of ways, because I've witnessed you do some things that most people wouldn't even fathom. And that is a good thing. Even though some bad results came of it, you still did it. You're loyal.
And I ain't stopped because I've seen more benefit than I have repercussion. You see what I'm saying? I've seen more benefit with me making a decision than the uncomfortableness of me not making a decision.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. Basically, there's more value to making a decision than not. And you shouldn't penalize yourself to know that every time you don't make a decision, because I think you penalize yourself. When you don't make a decision, you think that somehow or another something is your fault. Sometimes I let decisions go by. Just let them go. Not because I'm trying not to make a decision, but because some things don't require your decision. Some things don't require your involvement. your participation, nor your adjudication or your judging it. It doesn't require it. It's when you think you have to make a decision in everything that you get lost in those decisions. But you don't. You know, some things are just going to happen whether you like it or not. So you're going to be, I mean, you're married. Whether you like it or not, you're married. So you're doing the right things, learning how to cope with your marriage and deal with it and enjoy it and not put up with some things and put up with others. That's what you do in relationships. Remember, love and relationships are two different things. Two different things. Love has nothing to do with the relationship. Nothing. Everybody makes it a part of the relationship, love, but it has nothing to do with it. Love is just your surrender to your person and his surrender to you. That's all love is. Once you fall in love, you surrender to one another and you feel defeated in that love. You must be defeated in love. Defeated, like you lose. You have to lose yourself in love. Once you're there and he's there, then you're on the right path for the love. Now you can relate. You can relate now because no matter what, that love is undeniably a part of who you are moving forward. So all decisions can be made under an umbrella of love. And it would have already have been developed through how you got to know each other, the things you've gone through together, the trust, the integrity, the compatibility, the friendship, the kindness, the caring, the great sex, the whatever has already been defined. So when you're making these decisions, I think it's important that you put love out of the equation. You know, most people say, well, if you do it, never do, and then I'm going to leave you, I'm going to hurt you, you make me sick. And they do these things to themselves without looking at how much they love the other person. And when they say something, they need to be clear and serious about it and live up to it. Probably the only reason you're still in your relationship right now is because you got a good man and you know it. No matter his faults, you know he's a good guy. You still love him. He loves you. You know that. He pisses you off sometime, and I'm sure you piss him off too. That's life. But you're trying not to disrespect him. And I'm sure he's doing the same thing in his own way. And if he's not, he will be. That's what happens when one person decides to change a principle or a dynamic in a relationship and live by it. The other person, if they want to stay in a relationship, has no other choice but to do that. No other choice. It won't work any other way. If you go on two different paths, it won't work. You have to be on the same sheet of music. But I think everything in every relationship starts with respect. Period.
Yeah.
Respect the person's space, time, mind, emotion, understanding. Respect that, the person, the people around them. Respect them. Respect it first. Then everything you look for can be built upon that. And that doesn't have to be covered in love. It'll be covered in respect and dignity and honor and class. We'll talk more about that too. This is like advanced norm therapy down the road, but definitely we need to talk about it because we have certain things called perfunctory behaviors. And when something is perfunctory, it isn't special. Somebody says to you, hey, we going to church Sunday? You go, yeah, I'm going to church. Okay, sure thing. God's going to save me. There you go. That's perfunctory. It's like, yeah, that's my patented answer. You know, that's what I'm going to say when people ask me that. But in reality, I'm going through hell and I need God to lay his hands on me and heal me. That's real. But that perfunctory answer you give them that I'm just going to go along with whatever they're asking me because I really don't want them to know. We have this perfunctory behavior in our life, and a lot of people live by it. They just say and do things so perfunctorily that, you know, they don't mean it. And they really believe they mean it, but they don't mean it because it's just cliche to them. It's what they say next. It's what they normally respond to. Exactly what they've been conditioned. You said it, not me. And what you have to do is recondition yourself to have something meaningful to say about your life and the people around you and the people in it. You have to recondition yourself. And it's hard because it took you a lifetime of the negative conditioning to get in there. You ever be around somebody that no matter what you say, no matter what you do, their opinion is always negative. They always have something bad to say, or something to correct you, or something to critique you, or something. You ever be around those people?
Yep.
They're not bad people. You know what the problem is? That's all they know. And it's up to you to recondition them as well around you. Yeah. And it's not their fault. Because if it were something they could fix, believe me, it would be fixed. No one likes to be, you know, the dirty word, or the last bad word, or the negative in anything. No one likes to be that. But if that's all they know, and that's all they've ever been taught and conditioned, it's all their parents ever treated them like. That's all their friends ever treated them like. You too, you were one of those. You know, instead of you know, what can't we do and why we can't do it, what can we do and how are we going to do it, should be the theme of conditioning. And that's why that hortatory command we talked about before is so important. People don't want you to do bad. They don't. Likewise, people want you to do good, but they never really want you to do better than them. You know, they really want you to do great. You're doing fine. Bobbi, you're making your life better, but don't do better than me. That's normal. That's human nature. Has nothing to do with bad people. Everybody wants the best for themselves, even while they're supporting you. Now, there are some people out there who really want you to make it, and they'll support you even at their own detriment, at their own loss. They'll support you. But those people are far and few between. And you know how you get those people, Bobbi? You condition yourself and you condition them. I just said a minute ago, and you frowned, you went, oh, that job, I got to condition them too. Oh, shit. That's what you said. And you're right.
I don't want to be responsible for nobody else.
You don't have to be responsible.
It's conditioning.
You know, you don't have, that's not responsibility. Conditioning them is not physical work. It's not mental challenge. It's not mentally challenged. Because all you're going to do to condition them is keep being you without fail. If you just be you and be consistent at being you, they have no other choice but to succumb to the new you and like the new you and accept the new you. They have no other choice. But the minute you waver and they get you, they say, well, can you just do this one more time? Well, okay. All of your principles are gone and they got you, and there's nothing you can ever do to condition them again. You just lost that opportunity. So don't come off your principle, your own morality, and your own objectives in life. Do not give up you for anyone, because that very you that you're giving up on, they need in order to get ahead too. They need you to be great so they can be a part of that greatness. They just don't know it yet because they're not living it through what you're going through now. That's all. They've not lived it. So they don't have any point of reference. When somebody says, well, don't do this and don't do that and don't do this, but they have never done it. They've never gone through it. They've never known anybody to go through it, but yet they're telling you what not to do. It's like saying to yourself, I need to listen to this guy that makes $5,000 a year to help me make $1 million. How does that sound?
Don't sound right.
There you go. Why should I listen to somebody who can't get $5,000, $10,000 a year? Why would I listen to that person to make $1 million? Why? Why would I listen to them? What can they offer me? What can they help me with? But yet they'll tell you, they'll be sitting on that $10,000 or $20,000, $50,000 salary and telling you how to make it. Get a job, do these things, and but don't build your own. Don't be better. Don't sacrifice. Don't do any of that. That's what you can't do. But what you can do is go stand out and get some welfare, or go and get a job that'll work you to death and kill you. They'll tell you to do that because they don't know about this. And you're learning about all of this over here now. You're learning about all of this. And you want it. And you see your vision that you can get it. Don't let people stop you because they fear, or they're trying to instill fear on you. Make those decisions and stick with them. And you don't have to be crappy with anybody. You don't have to cuss them out. You don't have to be mean. All you have to do is be you and be the better part of your relationships, the better part. like when I said, fold 4 bags or clean them all and get them packaged and get them over there. That's being the better part of you in that relationship. Even though she may say, I didn't want her to wash this. I don't appreciate that. Why did she go through my stuff and wash it? Even though they say that, that's all they know. They don't know that it is strength of character when they appreciate others or they have gratitude and they can extend that gratitude to others and themselves. It has been scientifically proven that you get more out of giving and helping someone than you do out of someone giving and helping you. Proven. Fact. Your body releases all kinds of endorphins and euphoria and all of this other stuff, and it keeps you feeling better about you, life, and everything else. And it makes you more productive and you get more accomplished by helping others. So I can go on and on about that, but until you show them the good in that, of doing the 4 bags instead of 2 or 9 bags and throw the rest away or whatever you're going to do, that's fine. But you do something productive and proactive, and you do it for the right reasons. And it doesn't matter what they're talking about or saying. You did the right thing. You can go to sleep at night with the truth on your heart. You did the right thing. And you don't need them to judge you or sit in judgment over you about what you did or not. You know you did the right thing. And once you know you've done the right thing and you don't violate your own principle for anyone or anything, once you know that, you're untouchable. You're unimpeachable. Nobody can doubt you or cancel you ever again, nor can they make you do anything you don't want to do. Because you're standing on Bobbi. When you stand on Bobbi, you're head and shoulders above the rest. Most people wish they could have had your experiences without actually really going through them because they were hell. Because they'd be some tough chicks out there, not these lip service people just talk, and they've never done anything. But yet they bitch and whine and complain and exact and demand and all this stuff based on nothing. You're not one of them. You are not in that club. You've done some stuff and you know better. And I think you said it, not something I've been saying for years. When you know better, what?
You do better.
You damn right. That's what you do. And you keep knowing more and more and more, and you keep doing. And all of a sudden, you'll appear better in not only your own eyes to yourself, which is a major plus, but also you appear better in the eyes of others. Not like you're better than them, but you're a better version of yourself. Everybody wants to deal with the person that everybody wants to deal with. No one wants to deal with someone they don't want to deal with. No one. So resilience, awareness, we're going to talk more about this. Relationships is something that's very big to you. We're going to talk more about that. I think we touched on it a while. Relationships are always important. It's the foundation of everything. No one on this planet has ever done anything alone. Even the monks in the monasteries have friars and other types of leadership monks and seniors and all kinds of levels of hierarchy of leadership there to get them through, even though they may have a vow of silence for 50 years or a vow of solitude or isolation. It's still got people around them helping get there. You get it? So you have to build the people in the relationships around you where they work for you, not against you. I think you're on the right path. And I think that you have good people all around you. You have not yet defined in you the good. Once you define your good and you strengthen your good, then it's easier for you to see good in others who you may think don't have any good. Just because you are feeling better and doing better and saying better things and operating better doesn't make you better. It just makes you a better version of yourself. And the same things you went through to get to where you are today and where you're going in the future, they've not yet gone. So you got to find that spark in them, not the fire or the flame or the big handle and switch, but the spark. You find that minute, small thing that you can grab hold and pull it forward towards you. And the rest of them will come with it because everybody wants to be treated well. Everybody wants to be well. Everyone wants to sleep comfortably at night. Everyone wants to be next to their person, the exact person they want. And that's not hard to achieve if you start with respect. Whether you like it or not, start with respect. And then everything else will follow. Everything. Do you see that, Bobbi?
Kind of.
Well,
I
good.
mean, I see it, but I think I don't see it as clear as I need to right yet.
You haven't lived it yet. You're gonna start living it. See, you got to see how it is, see how that works. You have to start now conditioning yourself and doing the things that we're discussing now and making those kinds of minute or micro or macro decisions that you need to make. You have to start doing it because you're already on that path of doing something about everything now. Now let's hone in on it. Of course, you can really see it and partially see it. I'm gonna ask you that in a few weeks. Let's see how that goes. Because I'll tell you, if you just start doing it now, you're gonna win this game. Okay? You're gonna not only win, you're gonna be productive for yourself, and more importantly, the people around you are gonna feel like you're on a path that they want to jump on. They want to be with you. They want this to be the thing that catapults them from the cycle of crap they've been in their whole life. You can jump off that hamster wheel, so to speak. And people want to jump off. Nobody wants to keep going into a dizzying circle. No one. But if that's all they know, they'll just be dizzy the rest of their lives. Until you jump off, no one else will be able to. Unless they find the infinite self within themselves and they start moving along that path. And you can jump on their path too with them because you're already on that kind of path. So don't be confused. Some people may get to the place where you're trying to get to, and they may do it quicker and they may do it more efficiently than you because they have a different direction and a different kind of discipline than you do. Or constitution. They have a different constitution. It doesn't matter so long as you get there, or at least you're headed in that direction. We all go backwards every now and then. We take 1 or 2 steps forward and 3 back. And then we take 10 forward and only 3, and then 4 back. And then we take 50 steps forward and only 1 back. And then all of a sudden we get good at taking steps forward. Okay, there's a few things I want to say real quick. I have to say, and I've not been saying on any of our podcasts, I'm gonna let you close this out. If of course you've enjoyed our session tonight with Bobbi, I want you to please, of course, show us some love and start sharing this video, subscribing to our channel, and of course, liking it. This helps us. Our next norm therapy session will be this Tuesday, January 9th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Bobbi, of course. If you're interested in norm therapy sessions, of course, please go to normtherapy.com and purchase your sessions. They do cost money. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again on Tuesday. Now, I said all that. I need to give one more disclaimer. We're not traditional therapists by any sense of the word. What we do, and I think you've witnessed it in our sessions, is we try to help people help themselves. It's easier to teach people to fish than it is to keep fishing for them. We have a lot of wisdom associated with our training modules. If you want to become a norm therapist, you can also go to normtherapy.com or GoArrow, GoArrow.org, GoArrow.org to become a norm therapist. It's not free either. We did it for like 5.5 years free, and now we're in the pay model. So looking forward to seeing you there. Bobbi, is anything you want to share with our audience?
I would say my focus for this week is going to be the change that you want to see.
I like that. And the only way you can be the change that you want to see is understand that change, accept that change, and make sure you use every fiber of your existence to achieve that change. Change is the hardest thing in the world to do. To change, it's the hardest thing. To move is the second hardest thing. And to deal with a relationship of a significant other is the third hardest thing. These are the 3 hardest things to do in life, and you're doing them all the time, all at once. You're getting pretty good at it too. So I look forward to seeing you soon, Bobbi. Thank you for today. And
Thank you.
hopefully we'll be talking again here on Tuesday. I look forward to seeing you then. Have a great weekend or a
You
couple of days.
too.